Welcome back, everyone. Man, I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. If you've ever wanted to create the ultimate, beautiful offering for Ganesh Chaturthi, well, you've landed in exactly the right place. Today, this explainer is your definitive masterclass on making authentic, hand-shaped Ukadiche Modak entirely from scratch. We're diving into the incredible methodology of Chef Sanjay Kheer to really break down the art, the science, and honestly, the sheer joy of this traditional Indian sweet. So get ready, because we're going to unlock culinary perfection together.
So, the big question. Can you actually achieve perfect, crack-free modaks without relying on one of those plastic or metal molds? Look, I know making these traditional sweets by hand can feel, well, seriously intimidating. We've all been there, right? The dough tears, the filling leaks everywhere, and pure panic sets in. But let me assure you right now, with Chef Kheer's precise chemistry and technique, absolute perfection is 100% within your reach. You absolutely have what it takes to shape these by hand, and we're going to show you exactly how.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are breaking this recipe down into 5 clear components. 1. The sweet sarin. 2. The 3 rice flour blend. 3. The flawless dough or ukad. 4. The art of shaping. And 5. Steaming and offering. This roadmap completely removes all the guesswork.
All right, component 1, the sweet sarin, which is the filling. This is the first foundational pillar of our modak, and making it is just a deeply sensory experience.
The exact ratios here are absolutely everything. You're going to need 2 cups of freshly scraped coconut. And note that it really must be scraped using a traditional machine, not a modern mixer, to get that authentic texture. Combine that with 1 cup of chopped jaggery. Now here's a brilliant pro tip from the chef. You've got to let the coconut and jaggery rest together in a bowl for about 10 minutes before applying any heat. This crucial resting period lets the flavors deeply meld and ensures the jaggery is going to melt effortlessly later on. Okay, once rested, it's cooking time. Add that mixture to a pan with just a tablespoon of ghee. Now listen closely, this is vital. You must cook this on a strictly low flame, stirring continuously. As the jaggery melts, you'll see the color beautifully deepen. But be warned, do not blast the heat and do not overcook it. If you do, that soft melt-in-your-mouth saran will literally turn into a hard, sticky, chicky texture. No way do we want that. The absolute second the jaggery is fully melted and integrated, turn the heat off.
Once that heat is off, it's time for the magic. Nutmeg or jaifal is the non-negotiable ingredient you simply cannot skip. Along with a pinch of cardamom, a quarter of a freshly grated nutmeg is an absolute necessity. You stir it in off the heat so you don't cook off its volatile oils. This is what brings that iconic, mouth-watering festive fragrance to the filling. You know, it's that aroma that tells everyone in the house, oh yeah, something special is happening.
Moving right along to component 2, the perfect flour blend, or peeth. While store-bought flour is okay, making this from scratch is the true secret to those crack-free, incredibly aromatic modaks.
See, we aren't just using one type of grain here. The secret is this specific blend. 1 cup of tuku basmati, 1 cup of ambir mohar, and a half cup of Indriani rice. Why? Well, it's like a giant puzzle. The Indriani rice is highly starchy, so it provides that vital binding quality to stop the dough from cracking. Meanwhile, the basmati and ambir mohar deliver an unmatched, intoxicating fragrance. It's literally a scientifically perfect blend of structure and scent.
Let's rapidly cover the prep. Mix these 3 grains and wash them exactly once. Seriously, do not overwash them, because we need to retain all that precious starch. Spread the wet rice on a muslin cloth and air dry it under a ceiling fan for about 4 to 5 hours. Once it's dry, here's a massive tip. If you take it to a local mill to be ground, ensure they only mill dry, white flours there. If they grind your rice where turmeric or colored grains are milled, it's going to ruin the pure, pristine white aesthetic of your offering. And always, always sieve the flour before using it for that ultra-fine texture.
All right, component 3, the flawless dough, known as ukad. We have arrived at the most critical chemical reaction of the entire recipe.
You see, baking and sweet making is pure chemistry. And Chef Kheer's rule here is absolute. It's exactly 1 cup of water boiled with a spoonful of ghee and a pinch of salt to exactly 1 cup of your prepared rice flour. This 1-to-1 ratio is the non-negotiable rule for perfect hydration. Do not eyeball this. The moment that water reaches a rolling boil, turn off the gas immediately. Dump in your measured flour, give it a quick mix, cover it with a lid, and let it rest for exactly 5 minutes. The trapped steam is doing all the heavy lifting here. After 5 minutes, transfer this steaming hot mixture to a large plate. Now it's going to be way too hot to touch, so use the flat bottom of a steel katori, just a small steel bowl, to safely mash the hot dough. This builds that initial elasticity. Once the temperature drops enough to handle, get in there with your hands. Add a touch of ghee and knead it vigorously for 8 to 10 minutes until it transforms into a smooth, flexible, cohesive dough.
So, how do you know when you're actually done kneading? Enter the pari test. Roll a tiny ball of dough and flatten it into a disc or pari. If the edges remain smooth and don't crack, boom, you have scientifically proven your dough is ready for action. If it cracks, well, keep kneading.
On to component 4, the art of shaping. Using a mold is fine, sure, but creating this traditional shape by hand is just an incredibly rewarding work of culinary art.
Before we start shaping, let's run through some rapid-fire tips to set you up for success. First, lightly grease your hands with ghee so nothing sticks. Second, and honestly most importantly, always keep your resting dough covered with a wet cloth. Rice flour dough dries out insanely fast. If it dries, it cracks. So work quickly, work efficiently, and respect the dough. Okay, here's the hand choreography. Flatten a dough ball into a medium-thick disc, not too thin or it'll break. Place a spoonful of your sweet saran right in the center. Now to make those iconic folds, you pinch pleats using your thumb, index, and middle fingers right on the outside edge. The trick is to pinch the top edges without touching or thinning out the bottom base. Once you have a beautiful circle of pleats, gently gather them all together, pulling the edges upwards and twisting them slightly into a perfectly sealed, elegant peak.
Finally, component 5, steaming and the offering. This is where heat and steam transform all your hard work into the legendary Ukadiche Modak.
Your steamer needs to be hot and ready to go beforehand. Detail is everything here. Line your steamer tray with a wet muslin cloth, or if you want an incredible earthy aroma, go traditional with a banana or turmeric leaf. Place your modaks on the cloth and make absolutely sure they do not touch each other because they're going to expand slightly. Finally, lightly sprinkle just a few drops of water over the tops of the modaks before closing the lid. This careful setup ensures these delicate beauties don't stick or break when you take them out.
12, that is the magic number. You must steam your modaks on a strictly low flame for precisely 12 minutes. Not 10, not 15, exactly 12 minutes on low heat ensures the rice flour is thoroughly cooked, the inside is molten, and the shape holds perfectly.
After 12 minutes, turn off the heat and pop the lid off. But wait, hands off for a second. You must let the steamed modaks rest for exactly 1 minute with the lid off. This brief 1-minute resting trick is your ultimate safeguard. It allows the surface to stabilize just enough so the modak lifts off the cloth cleanly without tearing the bottom and spilling all that precious filling.
I absolutely love this reminder from Chef Sanjot Kheer. He admits, I practiced a lot. If you are making it for the first time, try 3-4 times, you will get it. It's just so humanizing, right? Even the masters had to practice pinching those pleats. Perfection comes with patience. So if your first batch looks a little messy, hey, don't sweat it. It's still going to taste incredible, and your hands will learn the rhythm.
And finally, the moment of offering. These are meant to be served hot. Just visualize presenting these beautiful aromatic modaks to Ganpati Bappa, glistening with a generous drizzle of fresh melting sajuk tup, that pure homemade ghee. It's an act of devotion, a celebration of culture, and an absolute triumph of your culinary skills.
So, I leave you with this question. Which part of this Ukadiche Modak masterclass will you perfect first for your festive offering? Will you master that 3 rice flour blend? Or are you going to dive straight into practicing those intricate hand pleats? Whatever you choose, head into the kitchen, conquer this recipe, and really embrace the joy of traditional cooking. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Happy cooking, and Ganpati Bappa Moria.